Hello and welcome back to another critical live stream. Hope y'all are excited for today. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. As I mentioned in the Discord notification, it seems to be at least very metal leaning today. So we'll see how much of this actually works for me. It's the host, Brian. Let's see, we got Mark here. Charm Tiger, Observe the Train, Synips, Gnome of Fire, probably a few more in here as well already. Glad to have y'all. We are going to dive straight into this, I suppose. I'm excited to get to some of these in the middle of the stream anyways, and there's no way to get to them except through. So, Mecha Chameleon? I don't even know what that is. Game where you paint your person to hide. Sounds phenomenal. I mean, I'm also assuming that it's multiplayer. Camouflage always works weird with AI, with NPCs. So I don't know. That could be pretty fun, I think. All right. I've never heard of this album. I have heard of Night Verses. I think we've checked them out on stream before. But they're a band that I forget the kind of music they make. Night Verses has me thinking something more like shoegaze, and I think in the past I've been incorrect about that. Multiplayer hide and seek with shotguns? Okay. That sounds absolutely wild. With that said, let's check out some Night Verses. This one comes at us from Tiger Charm or Charm Tiger, Proggy Rock. These last two albums have been mostly instrumental. The first two, they had a full-time singer and were more like metalcore, almost like two different bands, and I greatly prefer this newer style. So yeah, shoegaze is way off there. They have a very... Oh, I recognize the name. Eric Improta. I can't place the name, but I have heard that before. Prop hunt, hide and seek, where you try to paint yourself into the scenery. That's wild. I played a lot of prop hunt years ago, but being able to physically disguise yourself into your surroundings more than just being an item in the world sounds wild. He released a 40-minute drum solo. That sounds like an undertaking, both to perform and compose, but also to listen to. You put your white blob in a pose and select color from the background. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like an absolute blast. Let's get into some Night Verses here. Is that a solo at that point? Hair, glad to have you. Spiral out. You too. Johnny's here as well. People are flowing in. Good to have everyone this morning. Or afternoon, or evening for some of y'all. Let's see what's going on with Night Verses 8 Gates of Pleasure. It starts off with drums. I was making lunch. What you eating today? Oh, sounds good.
Behind this door are covers that didn't exist before.
Everybody's showing off here. The guitar melody, the bass holding everything down, the drums consistently expanding on what they're doing. Hey, Donnie, welcome. Great way to start the stream. I'm certainly awake, that's for sure. The texture on all of it. Nice little 3 here. Yeah, dude, the bass sort of creating the atmosphere and then the guitar coming on top of it works every time. Hey, Jaron, welcome. They're not going to pull this energy back this much. Oh, and the cross stick, of course. Oh, the harmonics. Yeah, definitely a good moment to join. This is a strong start. Hey, Arkonji, welcome. It's interesting too to hear them collectively break that last section up into 4 and 2 instead of 3 and 3.
Inhaling above water, exhaling below the surface. Gently she eases back into position, finds her balance, and floats suspended.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. It's technical, but still delicate. It's still intricate. It still like has this core to it. So yeah, the context on this mentioned that they had a full-time singer for the first 2 albums, but they were more like a metalcore band at that part, whereas this is more progressive. Though it seems like they don't have a vocalist for this album in particular. Their 2024 album, Every Sound Has a Color in the Valley of Night. Yeah, that one gets pulled down. Wrong one. That one gets pulled down. There we go. I quite enjoyed that. It was heavy when it needed to be, but was also so, I don't know, dexterous. Delicate still, I think the right word for it. Pear just nailed it with that description. As heavy as it gets, as intense as it can be, it still knows what it is and how to achieve maximum feeling without going overboard sonically. The guitar tone is massive. The bass is a huge sound in general. The drums are expressive as all get out, but none of them overly dominate the track. None of them push the song too far in any direction. The melody, the groove, the atmosphere is still consistent. And Johnny had mentioned their ability to find proper pacing throughout, which is more of a subjective thing, but him and I were on the same page there that almost as soon as the song felt like it needed to change, it did. Whether that was a drastic overhaul to move into a new section or a moment for the guitar to come in and pick up with carrying the song forward from the bass, it just always had the right pacing, the right choices for, again, maximum effect. Absolutely phenomenal track there. I will say I wish there was a little more melody. The guitar gave us some solid solos in there, but a lot of it was loop based. And I feel like an extended exposure to this, maybe a full album, might be something I listen to less critically, more casually. But there's still a lot of depth in here if I were to dive into it. And I'm sure the rest of the album is just like that. Yeah, it didn't feel disjointed. Everything felt like it was designed to go where it was going to go. The last two albums have been mostly instrumental, some guest singers on a couple of tracks. I might have to look at those specifically first and see where that goes, where that takes me, simply because I do feel like there needs to be some linear component to this. And I'm sure the vocals are going to be looped ideas, but poetically, I assume they'll be moving forward. And that might be enough to really get me into that. I think your favorite song from this album is one with the vocals. Vocals of Brandon Boyd from Incubus. Dude, that's... Oh, I gotta check that out. All right. Imagine some belted high vocals over that final chorus, and it sounds like a dream come true. I would just take any melody over that final chorus. Give me a violin, throwing some high notes out there and just making it feel grander than it is. Yeah. Amazingly strong start to today. And we're going to dive into some Vianova, which really surprised me a couple of weeks ago. So I'm excited to click on this one too and see what's going on. This one comes at us from Donnie Truck, Squier Talk by Vianova. No context on this one, although I'll be honest, I don't need context after hearing that track from a couple weeks ago. Fan of instrumental tracks, but not usually instrumental albums. Yeah, okay. I feel you on that. I think particularly within rock and metal, because so often instrumental sections are looped ideas. I don't necessarily think I need vocals in an entire album, but I do need an instrument to take the vocal role, to take that part of pulling us through the songs. I feel like most instrumental bands, particularly instrumental metal bands, really like to rely on riffs. And the riffs may be great, but they are by design a cyclical element. I wish that instrumental metal albums borrowed more from classical writing. And I think that would really help me gravitate more towards them. Need vocals for replayability unless it's music designed as backgrounds. No dissenting voices today. Yeah, we have a lot of people in agreement today. The Bandcamp song listing says when a guest is featured. I gotcha. Symphonic power metal. Yeah, dude, that sounds like it'd be a blast. I'm sure we've checked out some in the past. I can't think of any instrumental symphonic power metal that I've checked out, but I know that there's been a few bands that we've listened to when it's, yeah, this is classical music that happens to have a metal band attached to it doing some cool metal stuff. And I love when that balance is just perfectly felt between the orchestral elements and the metal elements. Yep. Observe the train. Depends on how much the riffs are building a diverse melodic journey. For sure. There's certainly stuff closer to like Meshuggah, Catch 33, that I feel is just too focused on loops with almost an aversion to melodic quality at all, that is certainly an extreme that's just not for me. But yeah, a little bit of melody in the riff certainly goes a long way. But as far as replayability, having me come back to it, I think it really has to have strong melodic qualities. Otherwise, I'm focusing purely on atmosphere, and I'll be honest, I don't really listen to a lot of music for atmosphere exclusively. And that happens to be a lot of the instrumental metal I've been exposed to. The entire outro to Coalesce by ILO is one riff, but it's all building around atmosphere. Yeah, see? I don't know if I'd get into that. I think that's my biggest hurdle with stuff like post-rock, is and well, post-metal too, is the heavy focus on atmosphere. It's one of those things I got to expand my horizons on and find a way to enjoy more so than just appreciate. If this is the most outright negative opinion, I'd say it's a solid enough track. Yep. Do you have to mention one of my favorite albums? That's enough. I bring up Catch 33 because to me, I just find it to be a perfect encapsulation of that sort of mindset. And I actually completely forgot there are vocals on that album. It's not instrumental, but in my mind it is, because the vocals are as monotonous as they are sonically. So I completely forgot there actually are vocals on that. Music for background listening should be as simple as possible. I can't do anything while I'm listening to music. My brain's just like, oh, let me listen to that. Even if it's something on the simpler side, I'm like, I need to engage with this. What's going on? How am I feeling listening to this? I actually, even if I'm doing something completely boring, I don't do it to music. And I kind of envy people who just like to have background music on. You can comfortably say Meshuggah will never be for you. I think I'm in that, I'm on that train with you. Music is too much of a distraction. Yep. Unless it's something I just know by heart. I can throw on some old school My Chemical Romance as if they have new stuff. But I can throw on some My Chem and just, it becomes background music because I've heard it thousands of times. But if it isn't something I'm ultra familiar with, I will, dude, my brain will just try to get into it. Rain, wind, and lo-fi beats. I have not tried at like field recording stuff, rain and wind. A lot of video game OSTs. Man, even in that regard, I think because a lot of the OSTs I like tend to be more technical. The only exception is while driving. Dude, I love listening to music while driving. But I would never actively listen while driving. I would not put on something really fresh. When I drive, again, it's got to be something I'm familiar with. All right, Vianova. Oh yeah, no context for this one. Let's get into this, see what's going on here. A friend who doesn't listen to anything while driving? Ooh, I don't know if I could be friends with them. At least I couldn't go anywhere with them. We'd have to meet at the place in separate cars. Okay, heavy auto-tune and compression. They're taking their time with this. These outfits are wild. The juxtaposition of The Office with the music and then just like nodding along like he's giving a presentation. I wonder how many times can you hear the silence can be found in a metalcore song? You know, I was thinking when he brought in the full vocals, it did remind me a bit of Bring Me the Horizon. Okay, this has potential.
Oh, hell no! Pass me the Squier!
It beat me to the punch, Johnny. I was going to wait for the song to be over. There's a lot of potential in here, though. Dang. You know, coming off of, I wish I remembered the track we listened to a couple weeks ago. It was probably the highlight for me. Oh, it's right here. Obsolete. Yeah, dude, that was great. I got to go listen to that again and see maybe why I enjoyed that one more than this one. This has a lot of potential, though. I think the ideas are solid. It's the same album. That is wild. I mean, I can still see the sort of poppy influence on djenty ideas being present here. Very texture over texture and atmosphere over all else. Is it sarcastic? That might be possible too, especially if you go off of the music video, which is very against the corporate environment of record labels, trying to make bands be something that they're not, to focus, test an artist. Maybe that's their idea here, to basically say, well, what if we just grabbed all the popular sounds right now and smashed them together and made a song about how things are popular and they want us to be more commercial? Maybe I can see it from that perspective, but I still think there's a way to execute that that is interesting. I'm not sure I found this to be interesting, and I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that these ideas are not executed as well as what they're riffing on. And if you're going to be parody, you kind of have to be at least as good, if not better, than what you're parodying. And I think this also comes off as really bad parody. You think you just hate the auto-tune? I don't mind the auto-tune at the beginning. I thought that was interesting. Auto-tune with metal isn't something we hear too often. I will give them some credit for just doing something different. Again, potential versus execution here. The song's heavily influenced by Kanye West, lyrically or musically. I didn't pick up any of the lyrics, but musically I don't see it other than Kanye's infamous auto-tune rant, which, okay, the auto-tune part, yeah. I think it's interesting to for them to credit Kanye West with being the influence there and not, you know, T-Pain or who's the guy from the Black Eyed Peas, will.i.am? I think those were the two I think of for influencing the heavy auto-tune voice of the 2000s. But, you know, if that's where they heard it, then that's their influence. Proper auto-tune is incredibly hard to notice unless you go word by word. Yeah, this is intentionally overdoing it, 100%. And I think that's what Mark's talking about. I mean, Mark makes music. I'm sure he's aware of pitch correction tools. Can we go back to night verses? But I feel like there's so many moments in here where I was thinking, okay, let me see where this goes. I'm going to let them cook and see what comes of it. And then I'm just disappointed with the end result. The intro went on way too long and just didn't do anything. It was a static concept. It didn't really build into an idea off of it either. It went into completely different sounds. I suppose the verse is probably their most solid part of this track, but it's their least adventurous. We had the lighter drummed part that kind of went into a melodic focus in the bridge that I thought was pretty neat, but again, they just didn't expand it in any way. They stuck with the concept without the expansion and then ditched it before doing the interesting thing. So I don't know. I think that's just where I sit on this. I wish they would have taken it further. Maybe a couple other drafts on this would have ended up with something really interesting. But I suppose there's still the case that it was designed to be uninteresting through tongue-in-cheek sarcasm. Not what I would have done, but there's that possibility. Zeno the Plushie, welcome. Glad to have you today. Haven't seen you in a while. You do say I exist. All right. A great first song and then something else. Yeah, you've only missed 2 tracks so far. This is a wild album art here. By the band Dose Your Dreams. Why is this not working? Why is this inverted? Okay. Whatever. You missed some great stuff, but sure there's more to come. Absolutely. Haven't listened to this band in a while. I don't think I've ever heard of them. Let's get some information up. We're looking at the band Fucked Up. The title is Dose Your Dreams. Haven't been able to be in the streams because of busyness. It happens, man. It sucks. I hate being too busy to do stuff, but it happens. I get it. All right. This one comes at us from... Nope. Did I not update all of these? There we go. Comes from Kevin. No context on this one either. They started as a hardcore band that went indie but kept the hardcore vocals. Huh. Okay. That could be a theme. Just a whole week of demonetization. Oh, man. All right. That theme title could go two ways, I suppose. Let's dive into this. See what's going on with Dose Your Dreams. All right, I'll write it down. We'll see how the patrons vote on that. Please. Uncensored album covers? Oof. Right about. I've been trying to figure out if there's strings. Okay, yep. Identical drum intro to Walk This Way. Good catch. Very inventive, Mark. Okay. Okay. That's a shame because I'm digging this. Very psychedelic electronic stuff over here. Yeah, it's laid back. Very chilled, relaxed, good times. Hopefully not driving while dosed up. It's funky, but it's also laid back, and usually those two don't go together. They pull it off really well. That's the hardcore vocals, yeah? Oh, nice. I'll check it out when the stream's over. They're still whispering on the sides, though. You wonder if okay, that was disorienting. Incredibly disorienting. just so many layers. It keeps building. I guess I gotta pull this one down too. No. Wow. What a gorgeous finale. Totally unexpected from that. I'm on board, dude. I'm kind of upset that more songs, well, I don't know if more songs don't feature the lighter vocals from the beginning, but that those aren't the normal vocals that are associated with the band. But dude, the entire opening was just great. Low energy, but has an electricity to it also. It's just very chill and relaxing, but not easygoing. I think that's where the dance vibes come in and the highway driving vibes come in. Is that it's not, you know, late night, baked on a couch kind of thing, just kind of chilling and relaxing. It's like you're going out and doing stuff, but you're having a chill time about it. And there, I think a lot of it just comes down to the vocals. They're whispered, but they're very projected too. There's a nice bit of airiness, but still physicality to them. The bass is just grooving the whole time. The synth work is consistently moving. That helps push the track forward. And it's just, it feels great. And then the harsh vocals come in though. And then I don't know how to interpret that. Because the song doesn't really change much. We add more layers and we do add some noise, some slight dissonance into the mix, but it's just a lot of everything happening at once. And then there's these gorgeous harmonies to wrap the track up in the final moments. It's kind of gorgeous in every moment of this, whether it is smooth and digestible or overwhelming. Completely unfamiliar with these types of music, and everyone else is. Don't feel too bad. That was me a few years ago, and to be fair, that's even me still now. Krautrock is something that I've only just picked up on in the last year or so. So I'm still getting hit with genres I've never heard of before. Like the bass, wish it went somewhere. This just built up to and then fade out again. Yeah, the bass doesn't really do anything different. I think what you have to get on board for with this track is the buildup of the layers rather than the buildup of any specific line. Whenever people start talking about black metal in anything but a satirical light, and I question everyone's sanity. Johnny over here just judging anyone who takes black metal seriously. But yeah, I was quite surprised by this, and I'm going to be a bit upset if the rest of the album isn't similar to this, but I've got to check it out based off of this track alone. You don't think you like this one? Love the strings and the idea. Okay. So this is sort of like for you what Vianova was for me. Strong ideas, just not too keen on the execution of it all. All right. With a sound like this, you expect every song to be different. I think that's a solid expectation. But I really like this. I want more of it. And I don't just want to play this track over and over and over. Though I absolutely would. if that's what it came down to. All right, next up we have Motionless in White, which I don't know much about. I think they're metalcore, maybe. I've heard the band name. I don't think I've ever heard any of their music. In fact, I think I can picture them in their drab outfits more than I can picture any music of theirs. But we do have Corey Taylor being featured here, which is the vocalist. That's where the focus came from, featured and vocalist. Vocalist of Slipknot and Stone Sour and probably some other stuff too. Dang, dude, features Corey Taylor, mutes the stream. They are metalcore? All right. To preface Playing God, since I forgot to include this into context, it's basically about the modern social media landscape and how so many people are too busy seeking validation from a platform with rage bait, hot takes, etc., instead of doing something fulfilling with their lives. All right. Seems to be a very common theme these days. It feels like almost every band has one track about social media bad. I've already given my piece on this a few times, even on the channel, exploring songs like this. Oh my gee. I gotta remember to update all these things. Either that or I gotta fix my script. This one does not come from Kevin. This one comes from Johnny. Peace, Love, and Metal. Heaviest track they have ever released, plus the additional context they just gave in chat. Have we ever done the Ned Flanders Metal Band? Yes, we have. And I think it was White Wine Spritzer that we checked out, which I think is their most popular. But afterwards, I ended up listening to a lot of their stuff. And there's this live track. I don't remember it was a small studio, but it wasn't like Audio Tree or anything like that. And they played, I can't remember the song. I've seen this video like a dozen times though. The keyboardist goes absolutely wild for no reason, and it cracks me up every time. Dang. I think it was something about Satan too. I don't know. But yeah, I have checked him out before, once on the channel at least. Very fun project. All right, let's dive into some Motionless in White with Corey Taylor. The track is called Playing God. Diving right into it.
Get the fuck
So that track was called They Warned Me. That's the one I was thinking of.
You're my motherfucker! So come and get it. Come and get it. When you fall, I'll be there as you hit the bottom. I am death by engagement. So fuck you to falsify.
Okay, so someone had mentioned Breaking Benjamin earlier, and that bow down, absolutely. Yeah, I guess we know the name of this stream theme.
Feel the pressure, feel the noise, feed the vultures to fill the void. For deception, feel the trend. Like a moth to a flame, you would burn for the content. Cause you know that it's toxic.
Y'all are killing me with this. Oh, so good.
So fuck you falsify truth to fabricate views. Cause without them you're nothing. So get fucked or shut the fuck up. I will never bow down or submit to the judgment of powerless puppets. finger clicks, let the drama dig a cold line. Desperate for a fix, as your pixel perfect world dries. Grovel like a bitch on your knees for the applause. Lick the fucking dirt off my boots like a good dog.
It's interesting. Johnny, you brought up taking black metal seriously. That's how I feel about this.
Cash in all your clicks till you're rich off the rage, babe. Worthless on your own, just a slave to the hot take. Grovel like a bitch on your knees for the applause. Lick the fucking dirt off my boots like a good dog.
So for those who aren't well versed in English, I should say American profanities there, he's basically saying leave or shut up. He says, I don't want to be around you. I don't want to hear you. That's what that phrase means right there. Philosophical stuff. Yeah, this is incredibly comical to me because it is so absurd. Musically, of course. I mean, it's just incredibly heavy, but also lyrically, it is ridiculous. Youth worship. Oh, man. I mean, we're definitely getting a stream title somewhere around that. Philosophical, though, kind of cracks me up. There's actually some great lines in the song mixed in with the hilarity of the rest. Like a moth to a flame, you would burn for the content. I will say, though, coming at it from that perspective, I do think this is the most creative. I'm going to use that word a little liberally here. Creative exploration of social media is bad as lyrics go. It's I don't know, I still can't really get behind the lyrics. Maybe I'll read the whole thing later on. Maybe that'll help rather than just the sound bites that are quite comical. They love their cheesy lyrics though, and these are very cheesy. But it's more expressive, right? When I think of other bands that are like social media, you're looking at your screen all the time, hoping to get those likes because you don't have them in real life or something like that. It always feels just a bit cliche. I can't really tell one band's lyrics on this topic against another's, but this one is going to stand out to me. And that already tells me it's at least better in a memorable way. Not necessarily better in a better way. I don't know another way to say that. Oh man. But it is catchy. I'll give him that. In the same way that Youth is quoting some solid 2000s new metal lyrics there. Is it cheesy? Is it campy? Yeah, but it's memorable in a way that this topic isn't always for me. So I guess in one hand, they are doing things right. And paired with the music, that works. The lyrics are extreme and absurd. The music is extreme and absurd. It is just incredibly, stupidly heavy. And I'll give them credit for that. I also find it really interesting how close the two vocalists sound. Their harshes, their compressed cleans almost. So other than that, though, I don't have much to add to this. This was a heavy track. Musically, not really my cup of tea. Lyrically, good for a laugh. But I doubt I'll be coming back to this. I think it makes total sense. There are tons of people who would literally set themselves on fire just to get views. Okay, yeah. A lot of wordplay, use of metaphor. You want an anti-reaction streamer song? Something that you can't just make a shocked face too. I don't even know if that's a good shocked face. I looked at myself in OBS. I was like, that's terrible. No one would even believe me that I was shocked there. Oh man, FHI, welcome. Yeah, the bootlicking part was an interesting choice. I think just because bootlicking is very much in common vernacular right now, that it's just on people's minds, which is an interesting thing to say right now, but it is. That word has risen in popularity wildly in the last year, maybe even last decade. Wow, now I know that phones are bad. You love the chorus being what it is. I mean, yeah, it's as cheesy and as simple as it is probably incredibly cathartic to engage with. I mean, I imagine if you're in your car with friends even, but maybe even just alone, just screaming alongside to this song, it probably feels great. There's psychology to using swear words to alleviating stress. I mean, this is something that's well documented in science. So maybe AI can give me a better O face. I will say, yeah, I think Jaron brings up something really interesting there too, is that this song would definitely have appealed to me 20, 25 years ago, easily. It appeals to me less as a 40-year-old as it does feel a bit more youthful, might be a way to say that. But I could absolutely see myself really singing along to these lyrics in the car when I was younger. I'm more ripe now. That's one way to put it. I've matured a bit. Maybe not in all of the mental ways, but some of them at least. All right. Next up, we have jizue with the track Marten. I think Marten's supposed to have some sort of symbols on one of the vowels. That got lost somewhere along the way. I think that's the point. So many people are just fed up with people being stupid because of social media, and Playing God really taps on the bluntly cathartic, cheesy lyrics. It feels targeted at teenagers who are constantly dealing with the negative influence of social media. Yeah. And see, that's a point of view that I think is a bit more nuanced. Not necessarily attempting to find something positive, but actually finding a positive nuance to what they're doing and why they're doing it, more so than just laughing and saying, wow, that was pretty immature. So yeah, I like that perspective on it. This one comes at us from Childra with no context. Again, y'all didn't want to tell me what was up today. Let's dive in, see what's going on with this track. I don't need to be reminded what George Lucas was doing in the 70s. That man had some wild ideas. This is solid though. I'm digging this. Fun little walk down there. We've also had more instrumental tracks today than usual, even though we're only at 2 so far. Unintentional parody? I don't think so. That will be an interesting week though, given how subjective it is. Totally not speaking about the last track. Oh, an animal like a ferret? I mean, this certainly has the dexterity and energy of a ferret. Hey, there's a few links under the video for Patreon. You can join at the critic tier or higher. And we still have slots for the last stream of this month if you want to get one in. I think you're right. This does feel a little faster than the last section. This bass feels right. I think it's an illusion. Could you imagine if we had contested enjoyment? You gotta be the first one to say you like it and no one else is allowed to. This is very chill and relaxed though. I think that's what's really standing out to me. This is just a sick part right here, man. Yeah, the melody, typically, the ostinatos themselves, or the licks, have the same beginnings, but tend to explore different directions. Yeah, chill and relaxed, but a frenzy. Fun and relaxing. These are all great ways to describe this. It does feel very fluff ball energy. If you've ever had a ferret or a cat or anything like that. I did not intend for that to rhyme. It feels like that. It's very bouncy and spry, but energetic and maybe even a little spazzy. And it's kind of all over the place. And it's very fun and light and dexterous. It's playful, yeah. I gotta look up this marten animal, see just how close it is to a ferret. I grew up with ferrets. I think at one time we had 4 in our house. And they're wild little animals, dude. I don't see it as relaxing, more like active fun. Like a ferret that's the size of a cat? Okay, now I definitely got to look this up. I mean, our ferrets were, they weren't small, but definitely not cat-like. Don't really see it as relaxing. Yeah, I think relaxing, I think it's not necessarily the feeling of relaxing, but being relaxed, of not being stressed. More so than the feeling of like just releasing everything and just existing. Sounds mischievous. Actually, that's a really good word. I can hear that in there. Mark, this was great. Dude, you're gonna have to check this out on the VOD later. It's like jazz fusion with a Latin flair to it, very light and bouncy. Energetic but chill. There we go. I really enjoyed that. And like Synapse had brought up too, is that the melodies are still kind of cyclical, but they're exploratory too. And I was kind of expanding on this idea about how the first half or sometimes even quarter of a lick will be the same every time we hit it, but that the rest of it is new exploration. And I think there probably is a larger pattern. Every 4 or 8 groups are going to be repeated on a cycle, but it still allows it to feel more developmental within a small span, and it feels like it's always moving towards something rather than just being the lick over and over until we go into the next idea. And I think that helps a lot and is a pretty big departure from the previous instrumental track that we checked out today that I mentioned was kind of lacking that melodic momentum. You love them from a previous stream and like this as well. I probably have them pulled down from a previous stream then, if some of y'all were enjoying both of these. I got to get around to listening to them though, because that was incredibly fun. Now, in case y'all thought that black metal wasn't for you, have you heard of the sequel? This is Dean Blunt's track The Rot, and according to Deezer, this comes off of the album Black Metal 2. Jawrod. This whole stream is just Brian's getting demonetized. Oh, man. Yeah, we have Black Metal 2 here, which is, yeah, we finally got the sequel to Black Metal. And it's not Black Metal? You got to be kidding me, dude. You can't name your album Black Metal 2 and then make not Black Metal. Okay. We're going to check out some context in a second here. Coming at us from Dogum with no context. Just going to dive straight into this. Black Metal 2 drops. All right. Let's see what's going on here. What old Dean's bringing to the table.
I told her relax. You might as well relax.
Well, he certainly went in a different direction for the sequel.
Cause the fear is going down, down, down. I told you to lady.
Jokes aside, though, this is interesting.
Never do it.
Obsidian Kingdom? I mean, it's got Obsidian in the title.
Fear is going on, on, on. See it coming down, down, down.
I'm kind of curious what Dean's inspiration was for naming the album this. But I'm enjoying the sounds. Slightly dark gray rock. It's a reboot. Oh, that's good. These vocals have a lot of reverb and airiness that's kind of messing with the my ability to understand the words. When Dean comes back in though, I'll let you know what I hear on my ends. The black metal Netflix adaptation. Because I don't know where to place it. Parts of it feel inspired by country music, other parts by romantic classical. There's also a very tiny little bit of R&B influence in here too. Yeah, I can kind of see the loungy vibe too, even if it's not really supported in like the harmonic element.
it going down, down, down. Said it's going down, down.
Yeah, there's still a lot of reverb on, mixed with a lack of harsh enunciation. That kind of blurs some of the words together. Hey, I paused you. I know I did. Blunt has said that the concept of black metal was based around the idea of how in America the black man uses existing white images and claims them as his as a form of empowerment. This album and song titles reflect this while completely eschewing any actual musical reference to the styles they're named for. Interesting. The relaxing atmosphere you're talking about. Yeah, this is relaxing in the sense that it will relax you. More so where I still think the last track was a relaxed vibe, not one full of tension. Very interesting though. A little bit of hip hop in there, but the guitar absolutely leans country. The strings are doing their own thing though. Very classical. If anything, I would call this closer to Baroque pop, especially with the female vocals coming in, and that's almost a little R&B. I don't know if the Baroque R&B is a thing, but that's kind of what we got going on there. But it's all really compressed, and mid-fi production ties it all together into something that doesn't quite have the clarity or cleanliness of pop music. It is a smorgasbord of influences smashed together, finding some sort of through line between all of them to create a cohesive experience. It doesn't quite feel like musical collage like this type of smashing together can, but it also isn't like anything I've heard before. I don't know, I find that really interesting. I'm going to pull that one down simply because I want to explore more of it. I don't think I enjoyed it, but I'm very intrigued by what's going on here, and I'm curious where this exploration leads into other tracks. If the rest of the album just sounds like this, I doubt I will listen to all of it. But if the experimentation is the part that ties the album together, I think I'm going to find something rather unique for me. I should probably start with the first black metal album. It's possible. If it's as experimental as this, maybe it has nothing to do with it. Maybe it's all thematic. For a first time listen, I doubt I'll dig into lyrics anyways, so I don't know. I've got it pulled down nonetheless, and hopefully I'll get around to it. Actually, let me make sure. Let me put this in my higher priority. I've had to make a second list of live stream interests, something higher priority, because it's just too long, man. I'm not getting to all of it. I've got to prioritize things now. But I'm still not really sure where I sit on this. It's basically two ideas. We kind of bounce back and forth between them, and A, B, B, A. I don't think on its own it really grabbed me. It's more of an interest element. Soon you'll be making lists of your list. The next track is a little different from the rest of the album. All the tracks flow into each other too. That's for the next track on Dean's album, or Obsidian Kingdom, that we're diving into right now. This one comes out as, from Jawron, so it's probably about this one then. Let that be a surprise for you. This one, a nice one. Next month, Another one, but that one probably won't be that nice. This is not a threat. Okay, so we have something that might be a nice surprise for me here. It's a little different than the rest of the album, which I'm going to assume is a good thing for me at least. All right. Priority 1 through 3 at work, but ended up having to make a priority 0. Yeah, dude, I feel that. No system is perfect. They all must be expanded. If you don't give yourself room to expand, you must force the expansion. Make that 0 priority. All right, let's see what's going on with Obsidian Kingdom, Last of the Light. Priority -1. You must have gotten this done yesterday. If not, you're screwed. I was gonna say, it's the synth that makes this interesting. I'm not sure I like it, but it's different at least. Ooh, very spacey. And bluesy bending. So there's nothing else on the album like this section here, because I'm kind of digging this. Yeah. Oh, they're very avant-garde. Okay. I'll pull this one down preemptively. Oh, the metric mod on those ghost notes, very sick. I mean, if 2 songs in a row have kind of got your eyes drooping, yeah. Yeah, we had the tenor sax being a gimmick for a while. Now it's all about the brass. The This is the metal coming back. Brass is in fact metal. Touche. Touche. Okay. I dig everything in here that's not metal. The metal part is fine. I don't really have too much of an issue with it, but it's not anything I looked forward to. Everything in the middle though was phenomenal. The bass tone, the still exploratory drum work, but lighter in general. The bluesy guitar solo was amazingly odd, but still amazing. And then the entire, let's just turn this into dark jazz and throw some brass in there, I was 100% on. What I think it failed at was hitting a peak. To me, the metal portion just didn't escalate. All of that noise, the brass, the slight harmonic tension rising into that final section, the constant hits on the snare built up into a peak that dropped down just a little bit as we had a pure metal finale. I really think we needed to keep the brass in there, doing some higher pitched melodic stuff on top of everything to keep that energy going. Now, this also might just be a production thing. I think they kind of topped out their sound, and when they removed some layers, it just felt like it was a bit smaller than it was previously. But I do think the compositional side, they should have kept some of the additional layers that they had from the dark jazz section and allowed the song to finish out as a whole rather than just bookending it with more metal. Felt like it went into a valley in the midsection. Might have to listen to it on headphones. Yeah, the midsection definitely dipped quite a bit until the end. It was really those final like 16 bars or something where it just started peaking. And it kind of disappointed me when we came back to just metal. I don't know, dude. If I could find, or maybe if I could sample this particular trumpet sound and add that instrument to the finale, I would absolutely do that. Because this song needs it. And I think it feels flatter without it. It makes sense in the context of the album. Okay. You're saying metal like it's a slur. Oh man. I mean, sometimes I guess I betray myself. I'm not a metal fan. And I like metal when it's not metal. I will admit that every day. It gets a slur. Oh, geez, it's good. Next up, we have a Singularity, Sisyphean Cycle. So I'm going to assume this one doesn't have linear melody in it, or if it does, it's contained to larger passages that get repeated. That's definitely what would line up most thematically with this. Looks like we have a music video for this as well. Let's dive into it. From Singularity, oh yeah, context, Vermilion Gates. Tech death black metal that has a really nice balance between melody and technicality. There are a few riffs that definitely had my attention on a first listen. If you were to listen to just one song from the album, recommend Haunts of the Underworld. All right, I will. All right, let's dive into this. See what's going on with Singularity. Ooh. Ooh, quite ominous. Either that or it isn't a cycle, making the attempt at cyclicality Sisyphean. Ooh, getting a bit meta there. Okay. It's a really interesting mix between blackened ideas and death metal. Like, this section is certainly more atmospheric. Very different from the technical melodic riffage. I will say the vocals are incredibly audible. Yeah, I can hear a lot of what he's saying. That's rather impressive right there. These are cool melodic devices over here. It's not my cup by a long mark, but there's a lot of things I can appreciate in this. It's my cup of kombucha. There you go. Ooh, and a fade out. How daring. A few really cool bits here and there. Doesn't really come together. I definitely find that some sections work better for me, but I would say that mostly it all forms into a cohesive whole of stuff that's just not for me. It's a fine track. It does atmosphere rather well. I think that they find some interesting ways to create some riffs that aren't just 16th note chords like black metal can do at times. And I find that the slower atmospheric sections have some sort of idea behind them. The technical sections, I think, are well done. Lots of melodic concepts and very tight phrasing to them. The focus on space between notes is incredibly clear. This is something I actually really like, and I'm sure it's the part some of y'all were talking about, the track feeling overproduced. Probably has to do a lot with those guitar riffs. But there's also the general balance of everything. The drums are high in the mix. The vocals are incredibly clear. There is definitely less of a metal and more of a almost pop production style to this. Overproduced drums and vocals. Okay, yeah. Don't think it's overproduced, just poorly produced. I don't know about that. I think everything does feel balanced, but it feels balanced in a way that melodic metalcore or even alternative metal tends to be balanced more so than black or tech death, which have their own styles and sounds that kind of aren't presented here. But as someone who listens to more alternative metal than most of y'all, that checks out for me. It sounds good to my ears. I'm very used to that. The drum triggers sounded terrible. No, I'm not pulling this one down. I think it does what it does well. I'm kind of interested that some of y'all mentioned, or maybe it was just one of y'all mentioned that this sounded amateurish. I haven't listened to a lot of music that sounds like this, so I don't really have a strong parallel to it. But I thought it sounded competently made, though kind of iterative. There wasn't anything in here that wowed me. Some of it I do think may be underwhelming because of the production, which is a bit too, well, again, kind of mainstream sounding, which is an interesting thing to pair with a sound like this. I don't know where I was going with that. I just blanked out entirely. Yep, I don't know. I can't even restart that thought. Didn't listen to a lot of music that sound like this. Well, not willingly. That's fair too. Although I will say that tech death has been one of those genres that has been kinder to me, especially more than black metal. And while usually a bit too abrasive for me, I can really appreciate the composition. And I think that's fairly strong here. Again, it is a bit on the iterative side, but I still think it's well done. And I did find the tech death parts, the tighter rhythmic sections, especially with the guitar parts being melodic, really stand out amongst the rest of this track for me. But it's ultimately not my cup of tea. I find it interesting that it doesn't appeal to me, a non-metal person, but it also doesn't appeal to a lot of you, presumably metal people, or at least people who enjoy metal more than I do. So, you sound triggered by the triggers. Dang, y'all got wordplay today. This is a good day for that. Moving on, we got Sanguisugabogg. Sanguisugabogg. I mean, obviously there's... what is that? Is it the Latin word for blood? That is on display in the first part of this. I don't know about the rest of this word, though. That's not making any sense to me. The track is called Repulsive Demise. Mark. According to... Oh, yeah, you're right. US. This is an Ohio band. Bandcamp says it's down-tuned drug death. I don't know what that means. That is absolutely wild. That is a self-description there. Also, we're going to some pop music next, or pop adjacent music at least. I think I'm going to be looking forward to that. We've had a lot of metal today. Sounds like it could be cool or incredibly awful. This metal guy thought it was okay. All right. There's a little bit of a positive there. Also being a reference to the founding member Cameron Bogg's last name, the band's name is also a combination of Sanguisuga, Latin for leech, and bog, British English slang for toilet. A toilet leech. Okay. Uptuned drug death. You know, someone out there's made it, that's for sure. This one comes at us from Synapse. Summer is death metal and groove. I think that's, yeah, got a lot of people throwing some metal around this summer, so. Yeah, to me, a bog is a type of swamp. FHI. Oh, I'm going to have fun putting the title to this one together. Let's dive into this and see what this group is bringing to the table. Okay, that is kind of swampy, though. Synapse finds a lot of wild metal, dude. Before the vocals came in, all I could hear was like Limp Bizkit style rapping on this. I kind of wish they had gotten that. That screeching off in the corner? Yeah. That tire wreck, you pulling in that corn track? The cymbals bouncing back and forth is interesting. Steampunk aliens, steampunk meat grinders, industrial swamp doom. Lots of cool descriptors for this. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think this is it. Skibidi-bog? Why? This is what the orcs listen to at Sorenen's place. Okay, the layered harshes. That's a nice touch. The panning cymbals is just such a great addition to this. It pulls the atmosphere together. And then we have Observe, who hates this, the hi-hat at least. Y'all are quick to notice those fade outs. I'm kind of curious about the drums actually, because this is 4 people here. I'd assume one of them is a drummer. Let's see. Yeah, Cody Davison on drums. I'm gonna wager, I mean, they could still be triggered, but I'm gonna wager they're not. It's very rare to have a drummer and then also trigger something so simple. Triggering 16th note bass kicks, yeah, I get that, or 32nd notes if you're gonna do that. But triggering doom ka, why even trigger that? It's not difficult to play. But they could be MIDI, absolutely. It could be that they wanted a specific, almost like electronic industrial sound, but they still wanted to play the drums. So, okay, you got a specific sound. That's, I'll take your ear on that. I'm not as well versed in drum libraries. Oh, there's that too, an electronic kit. You don't see those too often in metal bands, but specifically for what they're going for here, more industrial, it's possible. So we got 2 people thinking it's almost the 808. All right, that must not be a great sound library. I had no problem with the drum sounds. I thought they were fine for this specific atmosphere. Everything in here sounds industrial. The drums lean into that pretty well. To me, though, it's the vocals that I'm not a big fan of. Y'all probably already knew that, though. These vocals are wildly unintelligible. I did enjoy the texture layering at the end of the high harsh and the low harsh. That was pretty neat. But the vocals just became a background tone throughout all of this. The rest of it, though, is phenomenal atmosphere. This is just doomy and heavy and groovy, and as heavy as it sounds, just can't help but sort of bob to it. It's just this consistent groove like a machine. You know, y'all picked that up real early. And yeah, 100%. I think they captured the sound of this device, this mechanical device, really well. But they fit, you have to acknowledge it. I don't know if, I mean, I guess so. There is no other vocal I would put in here, so I have to concede that they fit for this style, or at least they're the most fitting, nonetheless. Watching this with a seal plushie on your lap. With a track that sounds like an alien meat grinder, I think you need some sort of comfort in life to get through that. I like the sound, but you need more. Yeah, I mean, y'all, I like my melody. There's no melody in here. This is all atmosphere. This is all texture. This would do really well in a film or a video game, any sort of visual media. Or even, you know, having this on while you listen to an audiobook or read a book. That's something along the lines of being in this massive machine of destruction. Yeah. I think this sets a great atmosphere. I'm just usually not an atmospheric kind of person. Melody in my meat grinder. This is Brian's background music. Unfortunately, you know, this is the type of music I would not slip into actively listening. Yeah, 100%. I don't know if I would put this on, but I could. And I think that's the point right there. The melody nerd. I'll take it, you know? I'll take it. Everything sounds terrible, so the drums work within that. Oh man. But I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, if that was their intent, was just to create this specific atmosphere, they nailed it. It's still a song. It still has a verse chorus thing. At least I could tell from what I think were the rhythms of the vocals at times. We had a peak at the end, adding a new layer. Like, there's a lot of things in here that work to build this track out. It's just I'm not the audience for it in the slightest. Melody in a meat grinder is the wrench that fell in while repairing it. Oh man. Once again though, Synapse got the wild metal though. Every Friday, he drops a ton of metal bands. Most I've never heard of, Bandcamp links always. And there's some wild stuff in there. Well, not this anymore, but what we were listening to is certainly some of the wildest stuff I've heard. But it's always a good time. We're going to flip the switch quite a bit. We're going to check out some Ixie. For those who don't know, we did check out Ixie on the channel last year, I guess. Yeah, dude, this cover is really well done. Ixie is also a reactor on YouTube and an analyzer. She has a music degree. She's incredibly knowledgeable, particularly about harmony, harmonic structure, chord theory, and an incredible reactor in general and music analyzer. If you ever want anything like what I do, that's probably one of the closest you're going to get long form videos with in-depth music knowledge. Also, I believe also goes by Ixie, or maybe Ixie Reacts. She put this album out last year, I think, 2025. Yep. Oh, March of last year. I believe I listened to it, I think, but I only checked it out once. And we'll see if this track rings a bell for me. Will I react to her reaction of her reaction? Oh man. I'm pretty sure she did put a comment though under the track we checked out, which was off of this album. That's the only album. Your God was the track that we checked out a full reaction for. I had a ton of great things to say about it. The production on it is just pristine. Everything about that was just phenomenal. Anyways, professional music composer reacts to a professional music composer. Charismatic voice and darkness singer did it. Oh yeah. Yeah, Johnny Hawkins Rides Again. Is that the name of his channel? Yeah, he reacted to her reaction of his music. Yeah, it did just miss my list. I remember enjoying it, but just not enjoying it enough. There was so much good music last year. So we got context for this. Oh, I haven't even updated the text. This one comes... All right, I am off my game today. This one comes at us from John. Come on. The kind of song that belongs in an underground vampire club. Dark, dancey, slow burn that builds into quite the payoff. But did the charismatic voice react to Johnny Hawkins' reaction? Oh, it's Justin Hawkins. That sounds... I was singing his jingle in my head that he does at the beginning of every video of his. And I was like, I don't think it's Johnny, but it's a J word. I can't think of anything else. And we got to get this going. So I was like, it's Johnny Hawkins. But that jingle, that's genius, dude. It's one of those things. It's an earworm. That's definitely what you need when you've got something you're trying to put into people's minds. Brian's still speaking slurs. Oh man. All right, let's dive into this. See what Ixie's bringing to the table with Calling Me Back In. Now, Mark, What is JWoww? Because I think that phrase means something to me, but I can't remember. I feel like it's something from like years ago. Japanese word of the week. Oh, like J-Rock? Jersey Shore? Is that because of the J? Jersey Wow?
Show your shiny skin. Steal the light within. Fuel your engine with my thriving shade. Tempt me with your tongue.
JWoww was from Jersey Shore. Okay. I never watched Jersey Shore, so I don't know why that's in my mind.
Fuse your anguish with
Beautiful.
what I have done.
Brian has no culture. An emo channel that introduced people to JWoww. Huh. Yeah, I'd say this is pretty typical for the album. Every track has its own vibe, but it's all... If you dig this production and general sounds, you'll probably enjoy the whole album. Hey, Pick Chris Burton, what is up? How are you doing today?
It's not for me, it's all for you. Keeps your story true.
Dude, I envy her ability to just hear music and then play the chords. Her ability to just pick up on progression is enviable. Hi, Chris. All right. Doing good. Glad to hear. I think someone mentioned earlier too, but Daily Doug also he just hears music. He's like, ah, this is in the key of whatever. I'm like, dude, how do you do it? The little textures off on the side, man. Well, now you just have me feeling self-conscious about it, like my ears are broken or something. Yeah, the ending to that, I think, is a phenomenal build-up. I do wish that it had a little bit more dynamic quality, and I think that was one of the things that kind of had me holding it off from my AOTY list, is that a lot of it is a bit more of a slow burn, and y'all know my patience is not always the best. I think the final moments were a good payoff, but you just didn't stick with them long enough. I mean, the final, like, I don't know, 20 seconds, really great way to wrap the track up. But it's the final 20 seconds of a 4-minute track, and kind of wish we had stuck with that a little longer. Maybe taken some more inspiration from something like post rock, explosions in the sky. You know, really stay with your peak for a while. But it's also a pop track too, and you got to balance out pacing. So I think I understand why this track ends up being what it is. But what still pulls me in every time is the production of all of this. The layers of vocals, the moving ideas, the little textures off on the side that honestly, there's some I heard here that I don't think I picked up on. At least I don't remember them from the last time I checked it out. So there's little Easter eggs, I suppose, in here all over the place. Stuff to hear on multiple repeat listens. But it is a vibe, it is an atmosphere. And I find it really interesting how I kind of have her understood, or at least prior to the album, understood her as more of a music theory person, someone just with really strong understanding of composition. And this album showed me that she has quite the ear for production too. Yeah. And see, I think that the almost static nature of this ties in really well to the club vibe that was described by, was it John? Yeah. Because it doesn't really change or evolve in too strong of a way, which is really great for clubs. I will say that the track we checked out on the channel, Your God, was quite a bit more dynamic than this, and the harmonic turn at the end of the bridge is still one of the best things I've heard across her entire album, and dude, it's so good. It really is. I got a chance to talk with her a little bit after doing that reaction, and she had mentioned, if I remember correctly, because this was months ago, but she was actually battling on whether to add that part or not, and I'm really glad she did because it's the highlight of the whole track for me. Did you miss anything? I don't know when you left, but we had some stuff. We had a pretty good pop track or electronic track here. I don't know what else we had because all my lists, I delete them as we go. But we've had a lot of metal. Oh, we did have a really wild industrial meat grinder alien machine track. Yeah, that was a thing. We had stuff. Trademark it. Dark synth with a harder hit would have made a great peak. Could imagine in a cyberpunk club. Yeah, absolutely. I will say that if you were even slightly interested in that track, give the album a go. It's on the shorter side. I think only like 35 minutes, if I remember correctly. And it's a good album. All right. This one I've been looking forward to because the little thumbnail that was in Discord, I thought this dude was a monk. I don't know why. I think it was the little bit of garb that we saw on his shoulder. But when I was doing the audio check earlier, it's like a polo shirt. So I'm still interested to get into it, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. Could see it in the background of a sci-fi movie. Absolutely. This next song is Gandhi's biggest what? I think that's a typo, or maybe Mark, you got to clear this up for me. I'm very lost. This track is from a band called Eastern Youth. And it comes at us from Spiro. Great emotional performance. Oh, the starting point was supposed to be a note for me, but that got left in the context, whatever. Oh, I gotcha. Does not look like Youth. I don't know what the title is either. We're just going to dive into this, see what's going on with this track.
まさに生まれてすみませんみたいなじゃねえんだよ生 まれてすみませんじゃねえんだよ。ねえ、そうでしょう。なあ。そうだろう。
Yeah, it's a quiet start, but it will get up to full volume. Oh, actually, let me bump this up just a little bit more. There we go. That's what it should be. Oh, the red drumsticks are nice. They stand out quite a bit. Cool bass line.
光の影で顔が見えない人たち伝わってくる気配の振動が夜を震わせて震わせてゆく遠くの方に顔が逃げ去っていく迷子にはまた帰ったがって待っている照りつける日差しにうなされて叩きつけるので逃げ出そうぜそれでも俺は俺さどんな時だって俺は俺さ You got the pain, God got the pain どんな俺だって俺は俺さ
Hey, there's a link underneath the video for Patreon. You can join at critic tier or higher, and you'll get one request every month. Our next slot will be the final stream of the month. If you're interested, that's when your request will be. You can also find the schedule at Patreon as well. It's one of the pinned posts at the top.
薄暗いバスに揺られまるで物体のように運ばれながら国道を流れる赤血球のようなテールランプを眼鏡に映して受け流していく生きたまま死んでいく
That is true. Our final July stream is in August.
瞬間のフレーム感覚のフレーム魂の叫びから渡すそうそう俺は俺生き生きたってこの時間も誰かの手に委ねていけないの
I'm gonna false advertising soon.
どこのだって俺は俺どんな時だって俺は俺成功の時間と尊厳の自由どんな俺だって俺は俺
Alright, I'll get that added to the schedule sometime this week.
そうだろうなあそうだろう
All right. Give this a bit of a generous read. This is post-hardcore. I've listened to music that feels like this that I really get engaged with. So I was trying to figure out why I wasn't clicking with this in particular. The first I do think is the vocals. I can feel the energy of the song, but I don't have that emotional connection because I don't know what's being sung about. There's a lot of power, there's a lot of emotion put into it, but the language barrier is negatively impacting me and not allowing me to feel what the emotion is. But yes, okay, youth, you're right there. Jump the gun a bit for me. But the other thing I do think is the production, which creates a flat feeling entirely. There is a lot of dynamic bass work on here that just doesn't shine through the mix. And I feel like that paired with a slight reduction in the guitar tone in general would probably give this a more dynamic feeling, particularly when the energy comes down a bit. The drums also overshadow the instruments. And so the two loudest components are also the two that are the least contrasty in what they're performing. The guitar is a lot of chords, the drums are loud ideas. We do get a couple different patterns there, but that combination makes the entire song feel rather flat and static, where the bass really brings forth a lot of interesting ideas and movement throughout the track that we just don't really get to hear too much of. I got monkfished. I feel like it's unfair to judge the song based on the production. Yeah, and the production here is not great. So I think if I heard a studio version of this and knew what he was singing, I would probably have a stronger connection to it, since I do enjoy music like this. And if the post-hardcore kid, the post-hardcore theater kid who loves the theatrics of this performance here can't get into it, it's probably not an issue with the music, but everything surrounding it. And I think that's really what it boils down to. As far as everything else, though, the bass lines, from what I could hear, and more often than not, what I could see, sounded and looked pretty sick. The drum part has some really cool sections to it with some cool fills. A lot of it is just straightforward, though heavy, emotionally heavy sounds. And the vocalist is putting his heart into it. I don't think anyone can deny that. I just don't think that this is the version to play people to necessarily get them into this. But I think it's an incredible performance nonetheless. So it's kind of, maybe the studio version is kind of lacking some of that emotional hook. The vocalist really gave it his all here, and that's why this one was selected. It's always kind of tough to find the perfect way to introduce someone to a band. Some bands are just, they have their studio qualities, they have their live qualities, and you always got to kind of have the give and take there. All right. All right, FHI, have a good rest of your day. We have a track here that, once again, I'm not going to be able to pronounce. It's that. Y'all can read or search that up if you'd like. This one comes at us from Elbow Juice. Make sure to turn up your volume for this. There's a lot hidden in the background. Interesting. Interesting description there. Also, I did crack up a little bit because the first track today was called 8 Gates of Pleasure. And as you can see, we're going to wrap it up on track 9. We went from 8 to 9 across 13 tracks. Description sounds like jump scare bait. Is that because you translate it? Oh, the description. You know what? I'm old enough to remember those days of the internet. Oh man, when someone would send you a video and they're like, you got to find Waldo or the hidden picture or whatever, and you stare and you stare and you get closer, and then the scary thing pops out and the volume is at full volume, and then you have tinnitus the rest of your life. Title translates to Song About the Flowers of the Valley. Is Brian bad at math? 8 plus 12 does not equal 9. 8 to 9, but not 6 to 7. All right, Mark. Trying to get the youth in here. Is 6-7 even still popular with the kids? I don't know, man. I still don't even know what it means. I feel like this is the first time I've really felt unk relating to like what makes kids laugh and stuff. Like 6-7 is just right over. I don't get it at all. He's doing Terrence Howard. Oh man. You know, it's funny. Just a couple of months ago, I would not have understood that. I'm late to the punch, but I get your joke. All right. Let's dive into this, see what's going on with this track. Now, I do believe that's not very skibbity of you. I do believe this is a very dynamic track. There's no audio yet. There's a lyric in a song and they laughed at it. Okay. You don't even think the kids know what it means.
Laula ja laula meille iloinen laulu. Laula ja laula meille laulusi. Laula sielumme maasta taivaisiin. Laula vaikka laakson kukista. Ei en voi, se olisi itse petosta, jos taivaisiin nousisin ja katsoisin alas. Mitä minä laulan, kuka oven koputtaa? Sano laula meille laulu noista laakson kukista. Laula vain lausun tuo, ja sitten jätä meidät lähtee jo pois. Mutta lauluni lauloin mä yhdelle vain, ei joutanut ikinä kuuntelemaan. Ei, en voi, en mitenkään voi, jos taivaisin nousisin ja katsoisin alas. Mitä minä laulan, kuka oven koputtaa? Sano laula meille laulu noista laakson kukista. Laulan minä laulun teille kuolemasta ja kuihtuvista laakson kukista. Lennätän sielunne maasta taivaisiin. Katsokaa nyt teidän laaksoanne. Ei, en voi, en vieläkään voi, jos taivaisiin nousisin ja katsoisin alas. Mitä minä laulan, kuka oven koputtaa? Sano laula meille laulu noista laakson kukista.
That is quite the specific description, Mark. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it myself. I'm not a big fan of the production on this, but I think that the general vibe is kind of neat. It's very folky. Definitely has that waltz phrasing to it, the emphasis on 3-beat idea. Field recording of a folk band. Yeah, I kind of feel that. It's one of the albums is bolded on Rate Your Music. That means it's highly rated, right? Not just highly rated for them, but like across the entire site. There are some neat details. I will give them that. The percussion instruments on this are interesting, more folky than anything else. Very much hand drums. Number 100 for 2005. That is wild. But this feels coded for Rate Your Music. Not that it was made for it, but that the Rate Your Music group would certainly gravitate towards it. But there's some cool details. The percussion instrument's nice. The violin arrangement works really well. There's some cool like plucked parts in there that kind of act as ornamental components, secondary to everything else that's going on. Miserable contemplation. Solitude. I can agree with solitude. I'm not sure about miserable contemplation. There's certainly a contemplative element to it, but I don't know if I would necessarily say this is negative. Certainly not miserable. That's an extreme. But lonely contemplation, absolutely. I think I would need to know the lyrics to gauge the emotional component of it anymore. Not familiar with Rate Your Music audience. They are, to use an older term, they're musical hipsters. If it's popular, they don't like it. If it's not popular, it's popular in their circles. Something like this, which feels very obtuse in some ways, almost feels like found footage folk music, seems very much up the general Rate Your Music audience's alley. The visual vibe of just sitting in a dark room with a flashlight. Oh yeah. Yeah, the music video is interesting, and having it land on a person's face who looks terrified is an interesting way to wrap that up. So they love Saint Anger. I'm kind of curious where Saint Anger sits on Rate Your Music. The contrarian that Rate Your Music tends to be makes me wonder if they would rate it higher than Metallica's other albums. But Rate Your Music is also used by a general audience as well. I think they're less represented on the site, but I'd wager that Ride the Lightning is probably still Metallica's most popular album on that site. Madonna had a new album this year? I think that's more surprising than the statement that Rate Your Music enjoyed it. I didn't know she was still making music. Huh. Ride the Lightning from the hit video game Rock Band 2. But I don't think I have much else to say on this one. It does have some nice details. It is certainly a vibe. It is an atmosphere that I can't say I've heard too much of elsewhere, but it didn't really click with me either. What about huge artists with huge cred? I actually don't know. I would wager that the more definitive sounds, like Black Sabbath for metal or Zeppelin for blues rock, would probably do pretty well on Rate Your Music. Yeah, okay, so they do well on the site. I think there's a big difference between popular and prolific, and I'd wager that prolific tends to do pretty well, while popular doesn't. Yeah, I think that's the gut feeling I get from that website. It's one of the reasons that I tend to like Album of the Year better. I find their metadata to be less accurate, and as much as I'm not a big fan of the way genre is dissected these days, I do find Rate Your Music to be a bit more pedantic about genre and lines up with more of what I kind of feel the music should be. But I do find the community in albumoftheyear.com to just be better, less gatekeepery, and less hipster than Rate Your Music. Saint Anger has the most reviews and the lowest score. All right. 50-plus-year-old mainstream works. I think it's more about survivorship bias, where the good music from the past is still good because it's what we remember, and the bad music of the past has been forgotten. So it's popular, but well, no, actually, I guess it still was popular back then. Yeah. Maybe it's just rose-tinted glasses too. I don't know. Use Rate Your Music for genre names for your spreadsheet. Same. As much as I would probably prefer to make my own genre etymology eventually, Rate Your Music is still where I go for my own database. List your music. Music will not have ratings because you haven't listened to them yet. It's funny because in the Discord, we had someone pop up, someone new, and I apologize, I don't remember what their name was. And they had mentioned that they have a huge watch list in YouTube of, thousands of videos, music primarily, of stuff that they want to get around to. And Azathoth listed a video afterwards of why watch lists don't work, why bookmarks on social media websites or video streaming websites just doesn't work. And I watched the video, and it's really interesting that it's kind of designed to give you a place to put stuff you're interested in but never get to. And building a whole website like that would just be creating another problem. There's ways to address it, but if you address it, you will eventually get to listen to them. It was fascinating, though. Very cool. Listen. There was a visual component to the video too, but a lot of it was just audio. The new Olivia Rodrigo album is high up there as well. They aren't as anti-mainstream as people think. They just want a little more from their pop. That's fair. It's literally just my list. That's fair. I do have a long list of music I want to get to. Although, to be also fair, it's not just music. I have lists of everything that I want to get to, and will probably never finish any of these lists. It's just always nice to have something to point towards when I'm like, hey, I want to listen to something new. I have this, not really, I mean, I guess it is kind of curated in a way, list of things to check out, and I don't have to go searching for anything. For any of y'all who have ever used something like Netflix and you're like, I want to watch a movie, and then you just surf through Netflix for 30 minutes and turn it off and then never watch a movie that day, this kind of helps that problem. Just opening up Deezer or Spotify, trying to find something to listen to, very rarely works. Olivia Rodrigo sounds like Wise Blood. No, Wise Blood. Yes, that's how that's pronounced. That's interesting because I like Wise Blood, but I don't think I like Olivia Rodrigo, so I might have to check out her new stuff, see if that fits better. I have a list of people that I don't like, and is the Youth Worship Explosion on it? I don't have a list of people I don't like. And Youth Worship Explosion is good people, I think. A fine troll, I will say. Keeps the comedy and the stream lighthearted without being too heavy. We could certainly have some very bad trolls. I've seen some Twitch people just be absolutely obnoxious. The friendliest troll in the world. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think Youth Worship Explosion's good people. All right, let's wrap this up. We have a band named after the Lovecraftian deity, Shub Niggurath. Looking at the track 9. I hope it's track 9, but it's just titled 9 here. You're just silly. I can agree with that. I don't have a list of people I don't like, but they're definitely on it. Oh, man. Let's dive into. Oh no, we got context for this. Coming from Hund 3000, part of my summer soundtrack. I believe this band is metal too, and that lines up with Synapse pairing metal and summer together. This is an intense group. I think we've checked them out in the past, and I let's just dive into it. Let's see what they're bringing to the table. I'm already so afraid. Some kind of troll? Is that a play on some kind of monster? Oh, this isn't the metal band that goes by this title. Okay, so we have a different band of the same name. Improv Zoo. Okay. So just pure, as far as Lovecraftian deities go, this is a pretty good soundscape to encapsulate this god. What kind of summer is the request you're enjoying? The meat grinder's malfunction? Does anyone feel like the number 9 while listening to this? More like 420. More of a 6. Ooh, feels like an irrational number. I like it. Sounds great. The drums, they have some neat parts. I can agree with Zeno on that. A fan of avant-garde and still not on board with this. Okay. I don't normally check, but we're halfway through. Normally I just let the song go. I had to know. If we get one harmonic chord in here, I'm gonna laugh. Okay, I'm kind of curious what their other titles are. Lovecraft hated everything. Well, I suppose that makes sense then. for a band based off of a Lovecraft creature to also hate harmony and harmonic notion, rhythm, direction, pacing, hate craft. I like it. Okay, so this is track 9. Every track is just the number. This is also the penultimate track of the album, if that gives you any more context. They hate the listener. Incubus segue 1 to the table. The nightmare world created of torturing of musical instruments. The fade out may redeem it. Wait till you hear 10. I mean, if they are free improv, it's really neat how that moment just happened. You know, I'll give it. That was kind of a cool finale. At least it made sense to me on some level. They have real songs too, but this fits in the 7-minute range. I don't have a lot of positive things to say about it. Free improv, avant-garde, noise, they're very rarely anything that I understand in a way to add enjoyment or understanding to a work. And I do feel that this one just did even less in that direction as I'm used to hearing. But I did enjoy how it built into something. Everyone came together to have this build up at the end. Again, I'm not really sure where it went, but instead of having a bunch of disparate sounds just happening to be coexisting, they did come together and grow in size and volume and worked together for a moment. And that kind of stands out to me. The bass sounds great. The drum ideas are interesting, linear at the very least. That's always a cool idea. But most of this just felt like noise to me. A bunch of people in a room just messing around on their guitars. It's a cool finale because it ended. Oh, man. Definitely one of the musics of all time. I don't think it's bad, but I'm not the audience for it, and I don't have the knowledge to get it either. What I would love to find, though, is someone who really enjoys this. I do know that Hund had mentioned there's a possibility they were going to change their request before the stream, and I checked, I think it was 2 hours before the stream started to see if they had changed it. And they didn't. So even they were kind of unsure if they wanted to go in this direction for their pick. Maybe they ended up sleeping in and missed the opportunity or forgot to update it if they wanted to. I still think it's kind of interesting just to listen to be reminded that music is art and is exploratory and can do things that, well, none of us get in this group at least. There are people out there who listen to this and enjoy it. Missing Brian suffering wouldn't be me. That's fair, given some of the stuff you've given me. There are rare moments where you feel like it kind of does something, kind of comes together and sounds cool, but it goes back to chaos. Yeah. And I think it's moments like that that I find interesting within it. Even though this isn't my cup of tea, I'm not going to listen to more of this. It is cool to kind of see it veer into these directions unintentionally. Black metal vocals and blast beats would have improved it. I don't know about that. But I still think that through the eyes of, the band is named after a deity that makes you go mad by simply observing it. That in and of itself, a cosmic deity beyond our grasp. This music kind of leans in that direction. It is beyond my grasp. It sounds like noise and chaos. But it isn't to some people. Maybe it isn't to another layer of existence. I don't know. Mike Patton on vocals would have been redeemable. I do liken music like this to stuff like Phantomos. Stuff that's just wildly, obscenely different and not really trying to follow any of the rules of normal music. I'm not going to listen to more of this as if it's for him to decide. You make me sound like some sort of hostage to suffering, which is not always the case. Now that's a threat. I'm sure people who like this type of music will still admit that it's noise and chaos. Yeah, I would hope so. I think I made it clear in my previous comment that I dislike this. Others can like it for all they care. These kind of genres are often full of people with a certain sense of arrogance and misplaced superiority. I can see how you've come to that conclusion. Which is a bit of a shame that the community that would develop around this wouldn't have better representation. But yeah, I agree with that. I think the type of people I've run into who would enjoy this are condescending generally. But I don't think that that means this music is associated with that type of person, nor that that type of person is the only one who could enjoy this. To be fair, you used to be arrogant about music and you grew out of it. Yeah, dude, I know, I've been there 100%. I'm trying to remember back if I've ever been super gatekeepery, but I used to have this idea in my mind that if people just listened to good music, they would enjoy it. Like the music, it explains itself. You just need to be exposed to it and you're going to just understand that it's great. And I have uncomfortably and awkwardly as a teenager sat people down and had them listen to 7-minute long, probably what was in their mind noise. And I was just so assured that at the end of it, they would be fawning over this because it's obviously great. I think it's great. I'm a music guy. I play music. I study music. It must be great. Yeah, I was probably insufferable. Objective music, yeah. So I was very different as a teen, and I'm really glad I grew out of a lot of that. I've said this before, but there was certainly a trajectory in my life where I wound up as a very different person. And I don't really know where that point was where I diverted, but I'm glad I did. A certain chorus could have saved this song. Oh, man. All right, we're going to wrap this up then. I guess this is just the new length. Expect 2.5-hour streams from now on. You don't like Young You? Nah, I don't either. I've done a lot of growing up since I would say teenage years, but honestly, probably mid-20s, still late 20s, maybe even. I don't feel like there's any point in my life where I've been this type of person for, extended period of time. I feel like it's just been constant growth. And there isn't any point when I look back to a more younger part of me where I'm like, yeah, I was definitely solid there. Even now, I'm sure 10 years from now, I'm going to look back on who I was here and dude, I still had some, rough edges I needed to shave off somewhere. I'm glad that I worked on myself over the last decade. Didn't really like yourself till like 25, 26. Yeah. We all got to grow. And I'll tell you, man, especially I'm going to say US because I have this experience, but US culture, especially through the 2000s, was not great. It still isn't very great. And I think particularly as a guy growing up in this, and probably even, a white guy, I definitely picked up on some very terrible mentality for growing up in that culture. So it's what sucks about being human. We don't get much time. That's true, dude. 100%. So we're all good people here. Pat yourselves on the back. I mean, yeah, I think we have a really good community here. And I think the main takeaway is don't stop growing. Don't ever feel like you're the best you can be. There's always room to be better. Stagnation is the enemy. 10 years ago, I didn't even like Crowless. What was wrong with if I get to that point? Wow. Such a small biological window to reproduce, yet our brains aren't developed enough to be good parents. Endless cycle of destruction. That's an interesting way to go about it, yeah. I mean, I'm glad I parented young. I don't know if I would want to do the first 4 to 5 years as someone in their 40s. I think having the energy of a 25-year-old really helped with that. But yeah, I'm a very different person than I was then. I think I'm probably done a better job. Not that I think I did a bad job, but better, improved, We're all good people here, except Brian, who's racist against metal. All right, we're going to wrap this up. So I've been accused of throwing down slurs today. I've been called a racist. Oh, man. How's the water in the Gulf of Belgium? What's that about? Did I miss something? The accusation edition. Oh, man. If you don't get back to me and before I wrap this up, I'm gonna have to go look that up myself because I think I'm missing some context there. Oh, okay. That's an interesting way to. But I see what you did there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't watch football, so I don't know. World Cup stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Let's wrap this up then. Thanks everyone for this phenomenal stream. I think we had a real good time today. We listened to some heavy stuff for sure. I think I pulled down less than usual, and that's pretty typical for metal oriented day. But we did hear some really cool metal in here, and we got to have our minds expanded with some industrial alien noise and some free expression noise, as well as some other crazy metal stuff going on. Yeah, that's the end, dude. We had 2.5 hours in, 13 tracks. It went by real quick. So, no early access today. This summer schedule stuff is starting to hit me. But good thing is we're almost out of the summer break for school anyways, and I can get back to a full 40-hour week. That'll be, I think, the second week of August. There's going to be some updates to the scheduling soon. I know what I'm doing, but I haven't. I guess I'm going to have to put it out. There'll be a note tomorrow about how July is going to go, because as usual, I'm going to take my summer break here in July. There'll be a week without videos. Maybe, still trying to figure out. The second week might be a half week. Anyways, look forward to a scheduling update. That'll be on Patreon. I'll probably also put a link on Discord and YouTube about that if y'all are interested in that. Polls will be affected. We will have a live stream every day except the 19th. I don't know why I'm saying this. Just go look at the post tomorrow. No early access. The VOD will be up soon, and everyone gets stoked for this week's theme. I think we're going to have a blast. All right, y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy some music this week, and I'll catch y'all later.